Hello and welcome to Gag of the Millennial.
A show where we talk about pop culture, current events,
and spill the hot Darjeeling right into the octave nerve.
Scaldy old Darj girl.
Blind girl.
She is. Well, she might be after today.
Yes, she was. Hello, Luxeria.
Hello.
What's the... Oh, what's the tea?
What's the tea? Oh, it's not very good today. No, I'm on the monster instead. I boiled it.
I actually really wish you liked tea. You boiled Monster.
Did you?
Imagine drinking hot Monster.
I'm sure there's some old wives' tale that's like, hot Monster keeps the doctor away.
A hot Monster a day keeps you
dead.
I couldn't imagine anything worse.
Oh, no. I've made myself feel quite ill.
Yeah, now she's off to the
hospital.
Pager Raiders White. Anyway, today we're going to be doing a brand new episode of Am I the Asshole? And every time we do one of these, they always seem to have wonderful, wonderful reception by you guys. So I hope you enjoy this one too. And of course, always leave your opinions of the stories that we talk about down below. Let us know what you think.
I'm feeling a bit spicy today, so I might be like, you're an asshole.
Oh!
Just like, hello, I gave you a present. Asshole, die!
But yeah, anyway, should we just get straight onto it?
Yeah, why
no more
not?
chit-chat. Life things happening. Life things happening. We've caught up. Let's get on.
Yeah.
Christmas. The Christmas edition is
asshole.
Asshole.
Yeah, the Christmas asshole.
The Christmas bussy.
Oh,
ho, ho, ho. She's a slapper.
Am I the asshole for refusing to buy an expensive Christmas gift for my sister?
Oh.
I'm a woman who's 28 years old, and my husband who's 33, and I are hosting Christmas at our house this year, which coincides with our son's first birthday on the 26th. Given that there will be quite a few people and we will also be celebrating a birthday celebration, everyone agreed to do a Secret Santa this year.
Oh.
I know, right? And when this was organised, the limit was put on a vote, and instead of a cap, we decided on a minimum spend.
Okay.
I don't like that idea. Of $50. I have drawn my sister, so some of the background on our relationship is... it is not the best.
Oh, wonderful.
Nothing has necessarily happened. We're just very different people, and she really does not like the way that I'm living my life. She said that she cannot understand why I would want to tether myself to a man, or why I would want to bring another screaming gremlin into the world.
Dear.
Needless to say, I don't like these things being said about me and my family, so I don't really engage with her very much. To be honest, I was surprised that she wanted to come to ours for Christmas anyway, but I won't turn her away as long as she can be civil and not roll her eyes even when the baby fusses. Given my very tenuous relationship with my sister, I turned to my mum, who's 61, for some gift ideas. I don't want to spend a fortune, but I would like to get her something that she likes and enjoys. Unfortunately, it seems my mum has gone directly to my sister, and now I'm getting texts from my sister with gift ideas that include exorbitantly expensive concert tickets, a hot air balloon experience, or, this is not a joke, a cruise to Italy.
That's
Cruises are literally like 10 grand.
Imagine a Secret Santa of a
Oh,
cruise.
Italy cruise.
A nice $50 cruise.
Yeah.
You have to watch on TV.
Yeah, it's actually a YouTube
It's a
link.
simulator.
It's a Patreon for someone's travel vlog. Obviously, a simulator. Obviously, she just doesn't want one ticket, as then she would be lonely at the concert, on the balloon, or on the cruise. She would like to take two so she can take her friend.
That is main character.
Oh, very this. I was really frustrated at my mum for telling my sister that I was her Secret Santa, and now I'm quite upset that the entitled attitude has happened when it comes to these gifts. I spoke to my mum about it, and she said that I'm being unreasonable given that I can afford this, so I should pick the cheapest one on the list, bite the bullet, and mend our relationship. I told my mum that this is beyond ridiculous, but she said that money shouldn't matter when it comes to a family, and I should use this to something to bond over. I was very ticked off, so I sent my sister a message saying that her gift ideas are too extravagant, and I will get her something reasonable. My sister has now told the whole family that I'm not keeping in the spirit of Christmas, and I'm not keeping the spirit of Christmas alive, and that she would like to boycott the celebration.
Oh,
like,
boycott,
okay,
yeah,
bye then, don't come to my house.
Drown in a
Easier
vat of
for me,
oil.
yeah. She is hosting a separate dinner at her house for anyone who doesn't want to socialize with the Scrooge.
Oh, for God's sake.
And my mum is devastated that I'm making her choose between her children on Christmas.
Well, clearly,
my angel.
you've already chose. You've already made a
100%.
decision. You've already made a decision.
Other family members are saying they don't want to get in the middle and would rather not go to either dinner. I feel like I've ruined Christmas and my son's birthday. Am I being the arsehole, or should I just buy a gift? You are not responsible for buying other people's presents. Is this sister getting a cruise to Italy for someone else?
No,
then?
like,
Is
who
that
else
what
is
it
getting...
Yeah?
The thing is, imagine being in that Secret Santa and everyone's got like these $50 things and you're like, oh yeah, I've bought you a cruise. How...
Yeah.
Everyone else is going to be like...
Wow.
Like, what?
A solid gold bar.
like,
what are you doing?
Shove it up your hole. It's so stupid because I hate the fact that all of this was agreed on, and then the mother goes behind your back, and then, like, you're saying you've ruined the idea, but you've also ruined the Secret Santa by telling the other person.
The whole point is no one knows until the last minute when it's like, I got you this, that.
Like, and also, it's like
$50 is huge for a Christmas spend for everyone as well. It's a bit much.
I find it insane that this idea of just because someone has a bit more money than you, that you get to determine what they spend it on.
Yeah,
it's a really
100%,
strange thing.
yeah.
Like, it's very strange to be like, well,
very entitled.
you can afford to do this, so do it. Yeah, but maybe she can afford to do this because she doesn't waste her money on cruises.
Maybe she's saving for something.
Maybe she's saving. Like, I don't understand why you would see that your daughter has more money than the other daughter and go, well,
oh, she needs a cruise to Italy.
Well,
it's been difficult for our...
Like... I just don't understand.
The dynamic in this family is not very good.
No.
I feel like the mum maybe has a favourite and it's not her who's writing the story. I think it's really, like, she's doing a lot already by being like, everyone come to mine. Like, that's
if she's hosting the party as well.
Hosting a Christmas is actually exhausting, especially if it's like you've got a son's birthday, you've got a husband, you've got other people's family, you've got your extended family coming, you've got your parents coming. Like, that's already a lot of work.
Well, the thing is, like, you said, cruises are like 10 grand.
Yeah, they're not like... They're not $50 cruises.
A cruise to Italy.
I got you this cruise ship model. It's $50. In fact, even a cruise ship model probably costs more than $50.
But also, how would you be like, oh, I'm going to give you a few gifts ideas. A hot air balloon experience. Like, that's so specific.
It's so weird.
Like, surely I don't know, maybe your house needed, I don't know, you wanted a coffee machine. Like, you not said that, like, hot air balloon.
Even a coffee machine is more than $50, isn't it? Maybe a nice cafetiere. Make it yourself. Shove it up your hooting goes.
I don't understand.
It's a hot air balloon experience. Yeah, stupid. I must admit, the idea of saying a minimum spend also is a bit weird. I would be like, no, give us a number.
I hate that they're being so transparent about the love for one child over the other. Yeah. The fact that you went behind one back to tell the other one to then get more things for that other one.
Yeah.
Because, like, are you fighting for the other daughter to get extra things as well?
Yeah.
Or like, But weird. Now she's like, you're making me pick. No, you picked when you went behind my back and told her to begin with.
Like, I completely agree.
That's probably one of the most unhinged things I've heard.
Deranged. You are not the asshole for telling your sister to go.
And it's not for you to pay for your other family members' like lives. Like, am I the a-hole for telling my brother he can't raise his child in my house?
Jesus. Okay.
I, 27 male, have had dreams of being a homeowner as long as I can remember.
Okay.
I actually started saving for a house since I was 18. I bought a 3-bed, 2-bath house 3 years ago. And while it's not the best home, I am beyond blessed to own my own house, and home ownership is everything I always hoped it could be. I mean, that's
very
today's day and age.
Very
it's like,
impressive.
this is only 20 days ago, so the fact you can...
You could do that, what? Did you say 3 years ago? So he was 24. That's pretty impressive.
Christ. To be able to come home and have everything exactly where I left it, to be able to play video games all day and have no one tell me otherwise, it feels like I'm free and in control of my own life, which is all I've ever wanted. It makes me feel like maybe he had like a shitty upbringing. Like maybe people were like,
maybe it forced him to be like, oh, I need to get out.
About a year ago, my older brother, who's 36, God, there's a big age gap between them.
Yeah, 9 years.
And his wife, 30, asked if they could move in because while they could afford the rent, they didn't want to pay $2,000 a month for an apartment. While I did not want them here, I reluctantly agreed because I can't tell my own brother that he can't live with me.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can be like, I'm sorry, I don't have the space. Bye.
Like, and I don't know. We'll circle back.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So while I didn't want to, and he would do the same for me if I needed somewhere. Would he though?
No, because he doesn't want to pay for his own apartment. So obviously he wouldn't.
I do not charge them any rent or ask anything, but they give me around $400 a month to help out. My brother and his wife have been trying to conceive a child for a long time, and they're finally successful in doing so. They're expecting in a few months. While I'm extremely happy for them, I also do not want them living with me. I did not buy this house for them. I bought this for me. I did not sign up for having my living room filled with baby toys and having my gaming room turned into a kid's bedroom. I did not sign up for my fridge being full of milk for kid that isn't mine.
Okay, that's an odd turn of phrase.
I know.
It's not my milk. It's mummy's milk.
This leads to today where I asked them to move out before the birth of their child.
Yes.
They were both extremely offended and hurt that I told them this. My family is also seeming to think it's in the wrong for me to ask them to leave and find their own place when they're expecting a child.
Like, it's Bethlehem all over again.
Yeah. Am I the arsehole for asking brothers to move out?
No.
I do think you should have probably told them sooner when they first found out they got pregnant, being like, or maybe said to begin with, if you're going to have a baby, because like they're expecting in a few months. Okay. So like you would have known that she was pregnant for a while. So do you think maybe you could have mentioned it a bit earlier? But that's me being very generous towards them. I do think you agreed to let them move in with you. You didn't agree to let them with a baby. And I would never want to be.
No, absolutely not. On the other hand, if this, like, the brother and his wife have been trying for a baby, if they've suddenly become homeless, I think that's a very good reason to then be like,
not have a baby.
Just
maybe
right
don't
this
have a baby
second.
if we can't afford.
If we don't have a place to live that's ours, maybe we shouldn't have a child just yet, kind of thing. Like that to me is like a sensible decision that maybe needs to be spoken about. If not taken, it needs to be spoken about at the very least. Your brother is doing a charitable act for you here.
Yes.
It's his space. He's got the mortgage. He's the one doing all the things. I wonder if maybe they feel a bit entitled to it because they're giving him some money or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
But like, you need to pay your own way in your world, especially if you're prepared to bring a child into it.
But
because
also,
if you have no money and no place to live, how are you going to afford an expensive child?
If
They're
you went
expensive.
from $2,000 a month to 400, like that's
you should be save.
Like
it should take less than 9 months for you to be like, I've got a deposit. Let's go.
Yeah, but they said over a year ago that they moved in. It's like, so did you not save anything for that? Did you not save any money at all in that time to like maybe get your own place?
Yeah.
The thing is, like, as an adult as well, though, I would feel really weird to be like, I'm now moving into my brother's house because I can't afford my own thing. And like, I would be like, I need to get my life together and like maybe try
fast.
to like, I want to be able to like sort, because I don't want to rely on my brother. But then to also try to have a baby in that time as well. What I think's happened is they've gone, oh, we've got a cushy situation now. We can just like ride on the coattails. And like, no, it's still your own life. And I get that you want to help your family members out. And I think that's what, obviously I've got a bit of a broken family. So like, it's hard for me to relate completely. But like, if my sister was ever in a weird situation, obviously I would do whatever I could to help her out. And she would do the same for me. But there's also, we would also both have the idea of this
isn't forever.
Well, even when I moved to London and my sister let me live with her for 3 months. And then I moved out and did my own thing. I didn't just sit in a house going, oh, this is it for now. Like,
that's
like, do you not want to make your own life and your own? Because I wouldn't want like my sister to see me in my everyday life all the time, especially if I've got like boys or like say I'm going to get a relationship myself. Like I would want privacy. Do you want?
You never have privacy if you live with like A, strangers, but also B, with like under someone else's roof.
Yeah, it's a bit weird because like you're living in their house and like they have the decision to do what they want, and you're like, I don't know. I feel like entitlement, it was like, I actually deserve this. Yeah. I don't know.
We don't know who these people are. We don't know where they're from. It might be a cultural difference where like you just let your family move in for years on end, it would seem, and just pay like nothing in rent. If I'm extending like a charitable act to you, it is under the pretense that this isn't permanent and forever. Like you can't just then, like imagine if it wasn't a baby. Maybe if they're like, oh, we're getting a dog now. Yeah. It'd be like, you're not adding a pet to this equation now. Like I'm not saying a child is a pet, but it's the same thing of like, oh, there's another thing to think of in this situation now. I also don't want responsibility for this baby that's suddenly in the house.
That's the thing. Like, I know from my sister and just friends who've had children, like the first, when babies are born or whatever,
you need stability.
The stability, but also the crying in the night, the amount of time to get up in the night, that's also now going to affect the brother as well. So it's like, you can't expect someone to be suddenly okay with a screaming baby in the house all the time. Like that's also because he said he's really excited the fact that he's finally able to in his adult life be like, I can come home, I have a games room now that I can use my own thing. Maybe he wants to have children at some point. Maybe he wants a partner or someone. And like, what's he going to do to tell his partner?
Sorry, my family actually moved in and they're having a baby. So would you also like to have a baby?
Yeah, like, I don't know.
Weird.
I don't know. I'd be like, if I had a partner, I'd be like, I kind of don't want you to bring home knowing that there's going to be like a screaming child in the house, and like this is actually my house, but also they're kind of living there, so it almost feels like it's more their house and I'm kind of their lodger.
Outnumbered.
Yeah, there's more of them and then me. So I don't know. This whole situation is like entitlement. Yeah. The thing it actually says here, I think we kind of like miss, but it says here, they can afford the rent. So it wasn't like they even couldn't afford. They just didn't want to pay it. I find it weird that
£2,000 a month is a lot of rent as well. Like you could save that.
Yeah.
If you're now your expenditures at home only are like £400.
But ultimately, I think the thing is they could afford that £2,000 a month.
Yeah, they're choosing to be difficult people.
They're choosing, like, if you can afford it, don't then suddenly be like, oh.
Look at it the other way. They're actually choosing to make your life difficult for their benefit.
Yeah.
That's what they've done. They've gone, oh my God, you've got a place.
Jesus,
I'm not going to give you money.
Math woman. So say it's 12 months, right? They've saved £1,600 a month. Well, dollars a month.
Yeah.
What's that on 12? What's 12 times 6?
Just over 18, 19, maybe even 20.
And they're like,
20 grand.
We're still gonna stay here. So you saved up all that money. And you're still just gonna like
that's deposit, that's deposit money.
Yeah,
like, realistically,
like, come on,
mortgage
sis, like,
deposit money.
I think something weird is going on here.
They're purposefully being difficult and taking advantage of this guy.
Absolutely,
So I don't think you're the asshole for saying that the situation needs to change. You don't want to raise a child in your house. It's your house at the end of the day. If you don't want a child in your house, you are more than entitled. to say that. Absolutely. Like, some people might be like, oh my God, that's so mean if you had date, but like you're allowed to say what you want in your own house.
But also, the child doesn't exist yet. You're choosing like I think
theoretical things comfort over your own now comfort.
Yeah, you can't be like, oh, it's so selfish, but like the child doesn't exist. You can't say the child that doesn't exist has feelings. Like,
and on the other hand, it's selfish for your brother and his wife to be like, we're just moving in and having a baby in your house.
Yeah,
that's so
what are you doing?
So selfish. Am I the asshole for denying my daughter piercing?
Oh,
very on brand. See, she pays attention to her job.
Gatekeeping.
Last year, my
pussy
14-year-old daughter.
Okay, 14.
And I moved in with my fiance. Oh my God, the other day, talking about fiance, I learned the British word for fiance is betrothed.
Oh, dear.
Isn't that fun?
Sounds angry.
It sounds
I've been betrothed.
You are my betrothed. We should bring it back. I moved in with my betrothed and his 13-year-old daughter. We've been trying to integrate as a family and treat both daughters equally. However, this is really difficult. And one of the things that came up in a disagreement was piercings. What I found rather unusual is how lenient my betrothed and his ex were with allowing piercings for their daughter. Although she's only 13, she already has her nose, her lip done twice, her eyebrow, her septum, her belly, and many ear piercings. That is far too many for a 13-year-old.
A 13-year-old? Are you kidding?
No, that is far too many. Personally, I think this is way too much for her age and probably too many piercings for any age. Don't agree with that, but do agree with slow down a little bit. My biological daughter has started to express an interest in piercings after seeing her stepsister have so many. She has already asked her father, who said it was okay as long as I was okay with it. I told her that I want her to wait until she can get them on her own, as I think she's too young to make such a permanent decision. She only has a single piercing in each ear, which I believe is enough. This has not gone down well, as she keeps bringing up that her younger sister can get whatever she wants, but she cannot get a few new ear piercings. God. She believes I'm totally being unfair. Am I the asshole? Oh, nuance scale. I don't think you're being the asshole by saying you should wait until you're old enough to have them done. No. I do think you are a bit of the asshole for saying that's too many.
That's too many.
Too many for
any age. Yeah,
too many.
I mean, I've expressed my beliefs on my channel enough about piercing young people.
Yes.
It's like when you're that young, you're still growing a lot and your face shape is still changing. I think getting a nose little stud is not really the biggest of deals, but I think getting your lips pierced and your eyebrows pierced at 13. Well, in the UK, that would not be legal anyway.
No, it wouldn't.
You wouldn't be able to get I don't think you can get your eyebrow pierced even with parents' consent. I think you need to be.
Back in the day when I was in like year 9, I think you could be 15 with parents' permission.
Okay.
I think. But that might have just been because Brighton was a bit like, oh, we're wacky and different.
Yeah. And like things like belly buttons as well, as like 13-year-olds are still growing. Like that's your body's changing shape.
Rip. Yeah. 100%.
Like that's I think when you're young, earlobe piercings, maybe a nose stud and shit is fine, but like anything like surface piercing wise on your face or like lips, I just think it's a bit weird and wait a bit. Ultimately, yes, you can take piercings out, but you are going to be left with scars on your face.
Yeah.
As you're still growing, especially with the eyebrow stuff, that's going to really scar badly. And then like you might be pissed off when you're actually like 18. I've got now a slit in my eyebrow because I got this done when I was 13. I think, I don't know, that makes me feel a bit.
I think it's sensible in this situation to say to wait until you are old enough. Yeah, I don't know. The idea that their 13-year-old has like all of those piercings just seems it does seem a bit much, doesn't it? To have a septum, 2 lip piercings at 13 is
eyebrow, belly button.
Yeah, eyebrow, belly button is like that's a lot. That's a lot, especially as
that's a lot of facial ones as well.
There's
a lot on your face. It's so young.
Yeah.
So in one of my most recent videos, I talked about I said anyone who's watching this video, please let me know like what your rules are, and it was I was actually very shocked at the amount of like Americans commenting saying that their school has like zero policy. And you can just have whatever the fuck you want. And I was just like, that's obscene.
Yeah, that really, like, even at my school, although I've just said like people had piercings, it was strictly against school policy. And if they every now and then they had like a uniform inspection day, and if you had anything in, they'd be like, you need to go home and take it out now. That's not unusual here, I don't think, to have a strict policy. But there's also like, what I find interesting is in some places in America they don't have uniform policies either. Like, we had really strict ones.
Well, yeah, because a lot of Americans they just wear what they want. I'm like, in a way, like when I was younger, I was always like, oh, they don't have to wear a uniform. But actually, like, I'm glad because we didn't have much money and all of my clothes were like hand-me-down stuff from like my brother and things. So all of my clothes like
again,
ripped
it's
or
nuanced,
like,
isn't it?
All of my clothes like shitty and ripped or like had like faded colours and everything. So like I probably would have been bullied more if I would, because I would have been like, oh, there's the kid who has like shitty clothes.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Everyone's meant to be equal if they're in a uniform. In my school, in year 11, it was wear what you want.
Yeah.
And I, obviously being like a massive like goth at the time, I just would wear the baggiest jeans, all black. When I first started getting piercings, I was probably still on the younger side because this was before all the reform came in and you had to bring like passport and ID and all this stuff because it was just kind of like a bit baccalaureate.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Like this was my first ever piercing I got, and I got it just before my 16th birthday. The idea of having that at 13.
Yeah.
Like,
two
of them at 13. And a septum.
And an eyebrow.
And being able to like, and being like adult enough to understand the implications of like looking after that as well. It's like, I wouldn't trust a 13-year-old with a small tattoo. So I don't think I would trust them with like multiple piercings because like it takes more to heal a piercing than it does a tattoo, really.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, 100%. It's worse. It's so much harder.
I wouldn't say they're the asshole. I'd say they're the asshole for holding some like outdated opinions.
Yes.
But I wouldn't say they're the asshole about saying like you should wait until you're old enough to make the decision yourself. It feels horrible on the other side when you're being told you have to wait. Like that feels horrible.
But then
when you've got the rest of your life.
When you're so young, you think that like it's the most obscene amount of time to wait as well. Like, I can't believe I have to wait until like 3 more years until I'm like 17 or something. And it's like,
and when you get to 30, the difference between 30 and 33 isn't that much.
No, you're like, oh God.
Like, God, when will it end?
When will it end? When will I be in the forever box?
Oh, dead now.
Dead now. But all else will be dead soon.
What was your first ever piercing?
My earlobe piercing here.
Really?
Yeah. I got it done when I was like 6. We went to a tattoo studio that my mum used to go to up from the street. They did it with a gun though, which I was surprised because it was a tattoo studio.
Oh, but that was
this was like 96. My grandmother was like livid though.
Was she?
Yeah, she was
like, you should have got a head tattoo.
She hated it. I would love to see what my grandma would think now with all, because like she died before I started getting piercings properly back in 2009. So she died in 2007. So it was a couple years after that I started getting really pierced. So if she saw me now, she'd be like, I'm glad I'm dead.
Oh dear God, yeah, she probably write a book called The Transgender Madness.
Yeah. Am I the a-hole for being upset both my sons are gay?
Yes. Move on.
My husband, 45, and I, 45 female, have been fighting over this for several weeks now, and since I don't want to discuss it with any other of my mutual friends out of embarrassment,
okay,
he suggested I ask here when nobody knows who we are. Oh dear.
Oh God. Right,
Jesus Christ. We have 2 sons, 20. Are they twins? We have 2 sons, 20. I guess they were twins maybe. Who moved away for school 2 years ago. They've always been very introverted and have very few friends. They never dated anyone and spent most of their time studying. They both got accepted into a prestigious schools. Right. And my husband and I have always considered ourselves very lucky to have such amazing children.
This is very queer pipeline already.
It is, yeah.
High achievers, prestigious schools, gay.
All dogging. Since they started university, they've become much more outgoing and they have a lot more friends and they go out all the time and they're extremely social. They came home from a visit a couple weeks ago and one of them said he had something to tell us. And it was that he has a boyfriend.
Oh,
then his brother said that...
me too! It's the same one!
Oh my God. His brother said, while the other one isn't in a relationship, he's also gay. When the first one said he had a boyfriend, I honestly felt happy for him and was glad he trusted us enough to tell us that. But when the other one said that he was gay too, I got very upset. I don't know why I had acted in such a visceral reaction, but I started crying and left the room. I didn't want to talk to them or to my husband for the rest of the day. The rest of the stay at home was very awkward. We didn't talk much, and at the end, their father took them to the railway station without me. I just can't help thinking this means I'll never experience the joy of a daughter-in-law. What? It's normally to say I'll never experience the joy of having a grandchild. A daughter. You just want a daughter.
Yeah,
you're just upset that you've got two. If anything, 100%. Now you've got two women. Yeah, two gays. To the femboys. You've got best of both worlds.
Yeah, now she can't assume anything about their lives, like she obviously has been for the last 20 years. So she's obviously very upset about that.
Helping her with the wedding, and that I'll never have grandchildren and do all the lovely things I've dreamt of.
Because gays can't do any of all that.
But also, you're having children for the wrong reason. If you're having children because you want to be able to go and get ready for a marriage or have grandchildren, you're not having children for the right wedding. It's so weird. I do accept them as they are. No, you don't. Nope. But I just can't help feeling sad. It was so unexpected and such a shock to me. I don't think it is a shock. I feel like you knew, you were denying
It's a sin where they're just like, how did you not know? You've known them for 20 years and you didn't pick up anything? You obviously do not know your children.
Sorry, absolutely. They've never done or said anything that might make me think they're gay. So I don't believe you.
I'm sorry, what you've just said, high achievers, gone off to prestigious schools at themselves, never had any interest in women, but always interested in doing well. That's literally the queer pipeline.
Essentially, just carries on going on that she's really pissed off. And she keeps trying to reel off all of these excuses why she's upset now. I'm sorry.
Asshole.
If you are, as I said before, and I say this all the time, when it comes to people talking about having children, if you are having children because you are now suddenly dreaming about having a daughter-in-law and being able to prepare a wedding and you can't have grandchildren, then you're having children for the wrong reason.
100%.
You are not owed anything by your child just because you gave birth. They didn't choose to be here. You chose to have that child. The child is your responsibility, and you cannot put any of your own expectations on this child because you decided you wanted a certain life trajectory.
100%. I can understand how you can maybe lament what your ideas were about how someone is. You can lament that, but to then be like, I'm not taking you to the station because it's all about me and I'm upset. And then you won't see them until the next holiday that they potentially come and stay. They might not even come back.
Yeah, you
have to also, as an adult, be responsible for the consequences of your own actions by being awful to your children.
That's the thing, is that you're now risking not only
they moved out instantly at 18 as well. That's a telltale thing to me.
Yeah, because I wonder
most
what
people stay behind a little bit longer.
Maybe
she's just insufferable.
Yeah, maybe because she's wrote this story, so she's gonna try to make herself out to be the victim or whatever. So maybe growing up she used to say homophobic things or she made many comments.
Let's get out
let's get out of here. Yeah, there could be that. And it's always I'm not. This sounds like I'm being weird because it's well, you shouldn't always assume this. Maybe I'm making assumptions, but normally it's the other way around where the dad's weird about it.
Yeah,
and the mum's
I
the one who's.
Agree.
So it's funny to actually hear it from this perspective where the mum's the one being like, no, me and the dad's like, come on, boys, I'll sort you out.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
I'll
sort you out.
Sort you out. The bag of peas.
Only a couple of years ago, so even it's modern day. So to still be like that now.
After reacting to so much trans content recently on my Chanel, I am very much a fan of the phrase of give people room to adjust to you. Give them room, but also don't let them take the piss.
Yeah.
So give them space to grow and accept you, and if they choose not to, cut them out. So I feel like I have some, not sympathy, maybe I can extend human understanding that she's perhaps surprised and maybe now she's had to rethink some of the things in her life. But everything that she's said, I'll never have grandchildren, I'll never experience a wedding, it's gay people can still do all of that.
Yes, absolutely.
They're not infertile, unsociable people.
Exactly.
They could still have kids if they choose to. You could have straight children that decide not to get married and never have kids, and then what?
And also there's a thing of if the gays they find a nice husband or whatever and they want to get married, they might have some bridesmaids. They might want bridesmaids at the wedding, and you could help with the bridesmaid dresses.
It might not be everything you've expected, but when is life exactly everything that you've expected anyway.
It's a very strange idea to...
Your ability to adjust to situations actually is what makes you like human in your response. She obviously hasn't adjusted very well to this situation.
But also it makes me kind of pissed off by this woman is like the fact that she actively went out of her way then to basically not speak to them for the time that they're there, and then not take them to the station as they're leaving. Like, they haven't done anything bad. I would understand if they came and told you,
she's punishing them.
Yeah, by the way, I'm sorry, I killed a baby. Like, I don't know, if they actually did something bad and you're like, I can't talk to you right now because you've really pissed me off.
You've done something bad.
By you acting like this, you've basically said being gay is wrong and it's bad and you need to be punished because I'm not going to now talk to you. Like, the way
they'll never forget that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, because sometimes like mums see like gay children as accessories, don't they? They're like, oh, this is my gay one. Yeah. And it's a bit like, oh no, they're both gay, so everything's ruined. Yeah. Like, oh, get a grip.
Well, that's the thing. The fact that she thought one of them, it was fine for the first one, makes me feel like she was excited to begin with. She was like, oh, I have this like token thing now.
I can talk in the office about my gay son.
Because she's still got a straight one who can give her what she wants. Yeah. But as soon as it's like two, now it's like, oh, now there's an issue. Because clearly she thought being gay was wrong to begin with. Yeah. But she didn't care as much because
if it gave her like office points or something. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a very apt observation.
Can I just say, sorry, at the end of that story, there's an edit that says, thank you for all your replies. But seeing how many nasty comments the PM is getting, I'll be logging off and not responding to anyone anymore.
Facebook Karen right there. It's because she thought she was right.
Yeah, she thought she was...
People are like, you know, you're actually being awful. She's like, no, what about me and my dreams?
Most of these stories, if the outcome is you're an arsehole, they get very defensive.
Oh, they do.
They don't want someone to actually think of them as an arsehole. They want people to agree with them. Yeah. They're not interested in other people's opinions. They want
to be right.
Yeah.
Am I the asshole for saying I won't kid swap over our Christmas holiday?
Kid swap?
Yes.
What new TV show is this?
Oh, awful. I, 32 female, have a brother, Charles, 38 male, who has a girlfriend, Claire, 35. Claire has a daughter, Ruby, 8, who has additional needs. This will be relevant later.
Okay.
And I have a daughter, B, 4. We are all, along with mine and Charles's parents, going to be on a family holiday over Christmas. Claire was originally not bringing Ruby as she was meant to be staying with her father, but her dad is a flake and cancelled, so Claire is now bringing her.
Okay.
Oh dear, right, okay.
Oh, the hated child.
Yes. For some context, Claire loves my daughter, which is great. She will volunteer to babysit her. I don't need babysitting as I'm a stay-at-home mother, and my mum is nearby anyway, unprompted, and whenever we see her at events, she always wants to play with my B. B loves her. Play with my B. Shut B up your hole. B loves her, and it's nice to see, but it is noticeable how she will spend a whole afternoon fussing over B, even when me and my husband are perfectly capable of looking after her. But again, she's great with B, so we don't mind.
All these Bs.
B girl! A couple of days ago, Claire and I were texting about what to pack for the trip, and I was lending her some clothes. During this, I sent her a picture of what I was packing for B to give her some idea of what Ruby would also need, and Claire said she was really looking forward to seeing B. She then suggested, and B, B, shut up, you B-hole girl. She then suggested for a couple of days during the holiday that we should do a kids swap where we babysit each other's kids for the day. No.
What's the point?
I was immediately not keen on this idea as I have only met Ruby twice and I know nothing about her needs or how to properly look after her. Also, I come on holiday to spend time with my child, not farm her out to other people. I skirted around the issue saying we could definitely do things together, but Claire kept pushing for me to agree. She wanted her and Charles to take B for a day to go ice skating. This back and forth went on for a while before I finally said no. I'm not letting you borrow my child. You already have your own. Claire said I was being unfair and that she deserved a break and to have an enjoyable holiday too. She then said she didn't want to borrow my clothes anymore and stopped texting me. Charles is now saying she's very hurt that I won't let her take B on a little adventure and that Claire adores her. I said that's not the point. I'm not uncomfortable caring for Ruby on my own, and frankly, I find it a bit odd that Claire's idea of a break from parenting involves babysitting my child. Charles says I'm massively over-dramatizing and that babysitting Ruby for a few hours doesn't need a degree and I should just help Claire out. I'm wondering if he's right. Am I the arsehole? No!
Okay, so that
Go for it, sis.
that made me really angry because
Yes.
I feel so sorry for this child.
Yes,
Okay, so
100%.
I'm sorry.
Poor Ruby.
What has happened here is this other mother is like, I hate the fact that I don't have a normal child,
Yeah,
and I
100%.
can't be dealing with this one, so I want to have
100%.
yours because I like yours more. Look after your
100%.
own fucking child,
Yes.
you disgusting parent.
Awful. It's very much similar to the one we just read, where it's like the child isn't what I expected, so I want something else.
Yeah,
like
that's really sad.
if you make the decision in your life to bring children into the world, you have to be prepared for all of the children that might come out of you.
Yeah.
Awful way to phrase it. but
18 in one go.
You get the idea that, like, I'm sorry, you made the decision to bring a life into this world. That life is your responsibility.
Yeah. I can't believe that you would child swap and be
Yeah.
like, I need a
Phrase it as that
break.
as well.
and
Why
I
don't we
wanna have
kid swap? I'll just take yours out for the afternoon and you can look after my disabled one.
Yeah, that's
so disgusting.
That essentially what you said. That is exactly what.
That
has
is exactly
happened.
what it is.
She loves
So-
your child so much because she's the one that's like easier to handle and like it's
100%.
really that's really sad.
It is really sad. It kind of reminds me a little bit. So when I grew up, my mom was disabled, and people would treat her so differently just because she was in a wheelchair. Like she was perfectly legible. She could read. She wasn't like she could read and converse. She wasn't neurodivergent at all. She wasn't incredibly special needs. She just had a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And so, but she was disabled, so things took her a little bit longer. Like if we went out shopping and stuff, the day would take us a little bit longer. We'd have to make adjustments and all that kind of stuff. The amount of people that just treat you worse or treat you like scum because you are disabled, to hear that their own mum is like, oh, I just want to get rid of you for the day.
Yeah, that's so sad.
But also, like, okay, I can understand, yes, parents might need a break, but to then be like, oh no, I'm replacing you with this like surrogate child for a little while just so I can cosplay a normal family.
Imagine
is
her seeing
so
that
awful.
like I don't know. Did it say how old they were?
Ruby is 8 and B is 4. So 8, I would say, is old enough to notice that the world
So
is
like
different
you
for
would
you.
you would see this other.
I think 4 is too young to know that, though. 4 is too young to be like, oh, I'm being used.
No, I'm saying, but the older child.
Yeah, the older child.
child is the one that has the disability,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So she's gonna be able to see this
she'll
other
know,
child
yeah.
and go, oh look, she's treating her like this, and why doesn't she treat me like this? That's really sad.
Oh, that's heartbreaking, isn't it?
Oh, trust the man though, being so fucking incompetent
always.
to
It's
understand
always-
the real idea what was going
It's always
on.
like, no, you're just being dramatic, you silly old woman. You don't know what you're talking about. Just let's look after your baby. Like, no. What, like male incompetence again,
Yeah.
just right there. No. You are not being the asshole. Not at all.
That's really sad.
Really sad. And instead of phrasing it as like, why don't we all have a lovely day out together so that everyone feels involved? No, you're purposefully ignoring a child that quite...
Yeah.
makes me quite viscerally upset.
The thing is,
actually.
like, in a slightly different aspect, but like, because of my mum, it was like, my mum loved having babies, and as soon as the baby was old enough to kind of be a little bit more of a problem, I guess, and actually need
a bit more work.
Yeah, all of a sudden she wasn't interested anymore, and that was why we ended up in the situation we were, because we were so neglected, because she was like, oh no, now you can look after me, or I'm gonna get off my tits every day and like do horrific stuff. And the thing is, it's so clear that she doesn't care if this other child knows either.
Yeah, that's the problem.
She doesn't care. Like, I'm not saying it makes it any better if it was hidden, but like, at least try to disguise it a bit.
Yeah.
But you're being so open with the fact that like
Yeah.
you don't like your own child and you prefer this other kid.
Yeah. I think it's actually it's really depressing. Also, I don't know, like if I had a child that had different needs to, let's say another child that we were going on holiday with, I wouldn't feel comfortable as a parent being like, oh, you have no experience with any additional needs that my child might have.
Exactly.
Look after them for a whole day without
yeah.
me there.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, like even I know this is completely different, but like obviously I have a dog. I have Little Biscuit. If he's going to go and stay with anyone, I need to be like, right, you need to have met him. You need to understand him. It's just,
Yeah.
Like, it's just, if you've not had a dog before, it's just different. It's a different experience.
Yeah, the lack of thought for your own child, like to that you don't even care if the other person knows that much about how to take care of them. Like,
Awful. Oh, poor Ruby.
you're not just an asshole, you're
was-
scum.
Am I the arsehole for taking my newly out trans daughter to my sister's wedding?
Oh
Yes.
God, okay.
Yes, you are.
Keep him away.
Right. Both my husband and I are 37. We have 2 daughters, Kate, 13, and Laura, 15, who is transgender.
Okay.
2 months ago, my youngest sister, Sarah, 28, invited us all to her wedding, which we accepted. However, last week, our daughter came into our room and told us she feels like a girl in every single way except for when she looks in the mirror. She admitted she was depressed and struggled with her confidence. It was midnight, so I told her that we could go shopping tomorrow and see if we can't find some of that confidence somewhere. The next day, my husband surprised me with an envelope of money and told me to make her day and he would make her night. So to sum it all up, my girls and I had a blast shopping.
Okay.
I took her to a salon and she walked out with a hot pink short bob. When you come out, you do have to have pink hair. It's true. We bought a lot of clothes and she picked out a gorgeous black dress for the wedding. We had such a happy, emotional week trying to make sure our girls knew that they were safe and loved and accepted, and that we didn't even think about telling the rest of the family just yet. So when we showed up yesterday, everybody was shocked, but they accepted her like we did. No one but my mum made a big deal, in a good way. My sister's fiance's family hadn't met us yet, so they didn't know that they didn't know Laura as a boy. None of them acted like they knew. Today, my sister's MOH. What's that? Sister, mother in no. MOH. What's an MOH?
A Masters of Hardcore.
Yeah, very that. Her sister-in-law, apparently, Christy, texted me telling me that I should have made Laura stay at home because it took the spotlight off Sarah and it really hurt her. Oh,
Die.
Sarah.
Choke on a pip.
Poor Sarah. She also said it was disrespectful to take a trans person to a Christian wedding, knowing Sarah's trying to get right with God. That's your decision.
That's
sis.
your
Nobody
decision.
else.
That's your decision.
I should have just made Laura suck it up and wear a tux for the day. That's what she said that she should have done.
That's
No,
awful.
absolutely not. I texted back and told her she is utterly and completely insane and to never contact me again. Still, I called my sister and she did admit that it hurt her feelings and it made her day less about celebrating her and her husband and our family together as people were focusing more on Laura. She shared the same sentiment that she shouldn't have come since we were going through a crisis and didn't want to hurt Laura. Am I the asshole for taking my newly out trans daughter to my sister's wedding?
No. At least I don't think you're an asshole for taking her to the wedding.
Yeah, I don't know. So I don't think she's the asshole, but the verdict is that she is. And I'm a bit like, okay, I need more context as to why people think they is. So someone here has put, while I agree that you have done the right thing by your daughter, you were definitely an asshole to your sister by not telling your family in advance. And I'm a bit like, don't out people without their permission.
Oh, it's weird.
That's a weird one, isn't it? Because, okay, I wouldn't say you're an asshole, but I would be like, if someone's going through a big change, it probably is good to like, just give people a gentle brief. Be like, different name, different pronouns.
Yeah.
Just like something really, really quiet and simple and just like casual without being like, my daughter's a now, girls. Like, that's just not what you do. I don't think she's an asshole for bringing her now daughter to a wedding.
No,
absolutely
not. No.
I don't think that's a problem at all. Although, like, doing a lot of wedding content on my channel, I'm like, okay, no, this is like a thing.
You're
that
a
people
wedding planner.
Apparently so, yes. A wedding. But I'm just like,
I think as well, though,
people
like,
can be a bit insufferable about weddings.
I do think this is actually quite a big telling of the other side, like the other side of the family and how they actually feel about trans people.
Yes.
Because in an ideal world, she would turn up and they'd be like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Be like, all right.
Because they've made it a big deal. Now it's like, well, you've done this to my wedding. Well, it's like, well, if you weren't, no, I get that it might be a bit of like, oh, that's different because we didn't know this. But like, I don't know, to be like, it ruined the day because it took all the spotlight from me. I mean, if you weren't so, like, if you didn't give a shit so much about the fact that this was the trans person, like, it's
the very the sentence that was like, well, she should have sucked it up and worn a tux.
Yeah,
that's very
exactly.
like,
So
well, you and what your feelings are like. You should have had my wedding.
This sounds. So I actually don't think you were an arsehole in the situation, but I do think possibly you put your child in a situation would have made
danger,
them,
actually.
Yeah, considering they would say things like that, it makes you feel like they're a bit transphobic.
But I think also like maybe cis people just don't pick up on, like, there's always like a vibe. If someone is around you as transphobic or you've had an interaction with someone who's transphobic, any trans people in the audience here, there is a vibe that you pick up on that I don't think other cis people ever would. And I think it's that kind of thing of like, oh no, they're just a bit set in their ways. Like,
Yeah,
well, that's
yeah,
still
yeah.
transphobia and I
Yes.
can pick up on that. So maybe it's that kind of a situation.
Yeah, I hate that excuse. I mean, I think we might have said it before, but I always say about my granddad, the fact that my granddad was born in the 30s when being gay was so like criminalized.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, he didn't just have like a gay grandson. He had a gay grandson, and he never once in his life said anything to me that was like derogatory, or I should go to prison. Although he did whip me. No, like he never once in his entire time while I was living
wild,
with him.
really, because if he was born in like 1930, it was another 47 years until it was decriminalised in the UK.
So I think this whole thing about like, they're just set in their ways, that's not an excuse, especially in 2023. Like maybe in like the 80s, if people said that, because things changed very slowly and stuff, and everything was kind of like really slow. But nowadays, to have any of that kind of excuse is just like, no, sorry, that's not that it is.
No, but I think also this very easily glosses over sometimes as well, that sometimes people just love being horrible.
Oh yeah,
some
absolutely.
People, if you give people a little bit of power, such as my wedding day, and they get to decide something, they become evil with power in a way that's not actually like glamorous. It's not glamorously villain to be like, suck it up, girl, wear a tux. That's not glamorous. That's just awful experience.
I feel like you're just this family's transphobic and they're not admitting it.
I do.
But I do think there should have been some care given before, being like, is this going to be a nice place? Not even so much for the person for the wedding. Is like, I think you should think about your daughter and go, is this a good thing to put her in the situation when they don't know?
Again, it could be one of those things of like, if you haven't had anyone trans around your family before, how would you know if they haven't brought up anything transphobic if they were? If that makes sense. That was a very convoluted way of saying that, but you know what I mean.
How will I know if there are transphobes?
Thank you for the serenade.
Whitney Houston is turning in her urn.
The fact that she came out a week before as well might also be a bit of like a not a problem, but like a timing thing of like, well, you can't really just be like, hello everyone, like announce it to everyone, everyone on the group chat, let me tell you now. Like, I don't think that's very appropriate, but I don't think she's the asshole in the end.
No, absolutely not.
Also, props to you for having like a mummy-daughter day out, daddy-daughter evening. That's lovely.
I think it's so nice to actually hear nice stories about trans people. It's like the families are accepting, because at the moment, like, we seem to be so vilified by like the media.
Put them in my oven!
Exactly. Oh, I soiled my tunic! Am I the asshole for refusing to have a fully child-free wedding? So I recently proposed to my long-term girlfriend. She died.
Awful. Yeah,
End of story.
Yeah, good, yeah.
And we are planning for a wedding in the summer next year. Everything is very in early stages. My fiance has expressed that she wants a child-free wedding, which I'm all down for, but I want one exception. My son, who's 15 male, I had him from a previous relationship, and we have split custody of him.
Oh, interesting. Okay, the plot thickens like off milk.
Oh, that's absolutely disgusting. Until now, my fiance has gotten along great with him. We've had days out with the family. She's gone to see his games. He plays ice hockey. I'm assuming this is Canadian.
She's a ballet queen.
And she's even taken him out on fun days, just the two of them. So she clearly likes him.
I don't know. Maybe it's a bit like, I feel indebted.
I brought up that I wanted to make an exception for the no kids rule just for my son. She shot the idea down straight away and said that she didn't want anyone under 16 there, as she doesn't want to feel like she or anyone has to babysit on her special day.
A 15-year-old doesn't need to babysit.
A 15-year-old can look after themselves. Yes, there are limitations, but a day thing at a wedding, a 15-year-old is not going to be running around pissing on for tables and being like, Mommy, I'm going to vomit on you if you don't give me chocolate.
Exactly, yeah.
I told her no one would have to babysit him. He's 15 and she knows he's well behaved and genuinely quite quiet and a good kid. She then changed her reasoning and asked why I wanted my old family and life on that. There we go. Why I wanted my old family and life on the day I'm supposed to make a commitment to her. Her son is not an old, like, her son is still here.
I know. It's not like, oh, you brought that, have you? Where'd you find that piece of shit?
Sewer rat. I told her while I was making a commitment to her, my son is very much part of the family. She then equated it to wanting my ex at our wedding.
Oh, shut up, you stupid bitch.
She's like, oh, my plus. Oh, you are spicy.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm so over people today.
I told her that I don't care about the aesthetics of the wedding and that she can pick everything else. The food, the aesthetic, the music, the dress. But all I want is one of my family members there at my wedding. That is the only ultimatum that comes to the wedding.
Yes.
I honestly think
that's not even an ultimatum. That's sensible. It's like my son's coming to my wedding.
Yeah. She started calling me controlling by giving her an ultimatum, and I had initially agreed to a child-free wedding, and now I'm gaslighting her. People don't know.
They love a buzzword.
People don't actually know what gaslighting means. They use it so
She's actually gaslighting him at this point.
Absolutely. Essentially, she's just calling her a dick. The story goes on, and she's basically just slagging her off, being like, "You're trying to manipulate the situation. You're gaslighting me, and I don't want this. You agree to a child-free wedding.
That's so sad. The thing is, when you meet someone and they have children from a previous marriage or something like this, as adults, you then have to accept that other people come into your life with baggage.
Yeah.
Like when you get to our age and older, if ever you're like in the dating scene, if you're ever in like, I don't know, like quite sort of like typical cis-hetty lifestyles, I guess, there are gonna quite often be like children and other family members involved in that dynamic.
It's very rare. It's very rare to find someone this age that hasn't at least got some kind of like child or crazy parent.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Yeah.
And when you decide to be in a relationship and accept like an engagement, you are essentially saying, I'm bonding my family with yours.
Yes.
I'm not it's not saying, right, delete all your old ones. Yeah, remember that photo you've got on your like, delete that.
Yeah.
No, we're starting a new one now. Yeah, burn the old garden down.
Yeah.
That's not how that works. Yes, okay, a child-free wedding to me means like no one under 10.
Yes.
Like no running around, like pulling on dresses, like pulling on drapes at fire or something like that. Nice little house fire at the wedding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Throwing the bouquet? No, throwing the flamethrower.
Oh, very good. Yes, I would quite happily do that at a wedding. I just don't think that would apply to like your own son who's 15.
No,
I feel like that's
obscene.
so obscene.
As I said in the story there, this woman is clearly threatened by the fact that she's got some kind of history with someone else. Like, I'm sorry.
The fact that she said, it's almost like you're bringing your ex to the wedding.
Yeah.
It's like, so what if the ex did come? Wouldn't you want your ex to be happy for you?
The thing is, I don't know if maybe because I'm not in this situation, so my feelings aren't invested in that way, but like if someone said that to me, I'd be like, well, we're not getting married anymore then.
Oh, 100%. It would be a deal breaker.
If you're happy to say that to me about my own son, like, is that every time you see him now, you're just like, I hate him because you remind, like, sorry, that's weird.
But that's exactly it. We even saw you earlier in the story when she said, like, when he said that they'd had, like, days out together by themselves. I'm just like, I wonder what she's been saying to him then, or treating him like that. Because as soon as she had the opportunity to erase him, gone.
Instantly
straight
gone.
away, not even a second thought. And then was just like, you're controlling me.
That's really sad.
It's really sad, isn't it? But also, I am a little bit like, would you not have picked up on this?
Yeah,
negativity?
where is it? I'm surprised it's only just started now. If you're at a stage where you're going to get married, did it say how long they were together? No, just as long term.
It's so weird because it's like if you live with someone, you tend to get to know them, and if you are willfully ignoring red flags, then other problems will just seep to the surface.
Absolutely, yeah. I wonder if there was other things and you just kind of looked past. Yeah, because I don't know how you would wait until the wedding to know that she thinks this way about your son.
Well, she's the asshole in this situation.
Oh, absolutely.
He is not the asshole for sticking up for his son. Because as soon as they get married, like, his son's going to be in his life for the rest of his life.
No.
As
soon as they get married, it gets killed.
Yeah, dead. Snatched out the window.
Yeah, oh, no, triggered. Oh, dear.
Oh, it's getting spicy.
Oh, she's getting spicy today, yeah.
No, say. But weddings, they make people crazy.
Wedding?
A wedding?
Am I the a-hole for killing my daughter?
Oh, well, we don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
Katie.
We'll get there.
Got to love Kate.
You've got to love Kate. Oh, dear. Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter-in-law she wasn't invited to our party as she is an embarrassment at dinners because she's such a picky eater?
Oh, okay.
My son has been married for 2 years at this point. We get along with the daughter-in-law as well as water and oil. So
they don't get on at all? No. That's what weird way to say it. We get along so well, just like a woman on fire.
I just keep my distance because I don't like dealing with her. She is a horrible picky eater. I don't know why, but I truly don't care because she is such a pain at restaurants. Whenever we go anywhere, we always have to change places multiple times so she can have something to eat. She makes the waiters go through hoops. If anything is wrong, she'll be a bitch about it to the point where she pours it over the counter. What?
Okay.
Example,
right.
She got a quesadilla, removed everything on it, and when it came out, she sent it back because there was sour cream on the side. It wasn't touching anything, and she made a huge deal about her food being wrong. She doesn't have allergies either. What really made me dislike her is that she complained about the food at a funeral. They had a sandwich spread, but went on about it like it's gross and disgusting multiple times. So I had a dinner yesterday, and I invited everyone but my son's wife. Son wasn't invited either because he was on a business trip. My other daughter-in-law posted it online, and I got a call from my other daughter-in-law. I wish you should have said two different names, but
yeah.
So the daughter-in-law she likes.
Oh, she just give them names. Just give them names.
Just give them names.
So So annoying.
So the other daughter-in-law was pissed I didn't
seventh
invite her.
daughter-in-law.
The seventh daughter-in-law. So she was pissed that I didn't invite her and asked why. I told her it's due to her being an embarrassment at dinners and I won't be inviting her for dinners. She called me a jerk and hung up. Now my son is on my ass and wondering if I should apologize or not.
Okay, I think we've all been there. We've all been to dinner with someone who's a bit of a difficult person with food.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. However, how they behave about that food is the end of the
Absolutely.
world. Like, if you throw it over a waiter, it's a problem. But if someone is uncomfortable with certain types of food, you have to also possibly understand that they might be neurodivergent and maybe haven't confessed that to you.
Yes,
confessed, is that the right word? Like, confided. That's
Confided.
the word I'm looking for.
Accused.
Accused. Yeah, you're neurodivergent, aren't you? You whore. Yes, you have to be a little, like, soft with these people. I think the idea that she phoned her and then said, well, you're so difficult at dinner, I hate you. Like, she could have easily turned that into a point of conversation rather than being like, well, you're disrupting my life, so you're the enemy.
Yes.
It's always better to inquire first and then come to a conclusion rather than just jumping the gun and being a right, to start with.
I think when it comes to this, is like I have food aversion due to trauma as younger. I will say though, is that I would never then just like pour my food on the counter at a restaurant.
Could
like,
you imagine? Although I know that in private, if we happened to go to a funeral and they only served lobster and squid raw or something, I don't know, you would probably come over to me and be like, the food is awful. But like, that's not like, oh my god, everybody, this funeral's terrible, the food's awful. I think that's a case of like, yeah, you can fight, because I would also be like, yeah, it's a bit shit, isn't it? But that's not why we're here.
I think when you read through this, sometimes it can be maybe it's too like 2023 of us, because instantly we're like, oh, maybe she's ill. Maybe she
could also just be
like,
horrible.
Some people could just be a fucking
yeah, very true. Also, it sounds like this woman has been to multiple different problems.
Yeah.
And like, it's a clear case again. Early communication probably could have sorted this out.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
Years ago when she was first perhaps displaying something where you're like, oh, that's an unusual behavior. I wonder what that's from. Instead of being like, oh, why is she doing all this? It could have easily have been a talk through the situation.
Yeah,
like,
I think don't throw food on the counter at a restaurant. Like, that's very much like...
It
makes you think of like those people where you get like...
that's embarrassing. Like, I can understand that.
That is embarrassing. It feels like thing when you get like a receipt or something and it's like, they didn't tip, and on the tip line they've gone like, you looked at my husband funny or something like that. And it's like, what?
It's just like, get a grip, sis. Like, people are out here in public trying to live. If you know that you're going to go into a situation that everything is a lot harder, there is that aspect of like, oh, okay, right, prepare yourself, everybody. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
But like, that's still not a reason to be like, you're a horrible person. Like, I don't know. It's just, I can't imagine being that kind of person.
I feel like at this point though, I'm a bit, maybe because I'm like cold-hearted. I'm like, if I was in this situation, like say, just obviously I'm not saying you because we're actually best friends, but say you were the daughter-in-law that I had like a slight connection with, I'd just be like, well, you're not eating then. Come to my house, I'm going to make this wonderful banquet.
I think that's it, isn't
I would
it?
be like, we're not eating then.
Well, that's what she did. She was like, we're not inviting you anymore. So, yeah, maybe you are the arsehole.
The thing is, I think because I think sometimes you get
patience and they get worn thin eventually.
And you get to a certain age where it's like, I'm too old to deal with this drama. Like, I feel like there's been multiple times in recent years with my life with people who I've had to like cut out of my life relatively fast because I'm like, I'm in my 30s now. I don't have time to deal with petty shit that people want to fight about, the most juvenile stuff. And I'm like, I'm too old for this. I'm not going to sit here while you just moan about someone, I don't know, doing this stupid thing online, calling you a bitch. I'm like, I don't care.
Just at me next time on Twitter. I posted something earlier.
Sorry.
Linda. Am I the asshole for not telling my girlfriend that my parents are gay?
Okay.
All right. I'm 25. I have two parents. I'm also a man. My birth dad, John, who's 48, and my other dad, Dwayne, who's 45.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson, raw dogging on the ring.
Ooh. I call my birth dad, John, Dad, and I call my other dad, Dwayne, Pops, and that's how he differentiates.
But that makes me think of like old man Pops.
Grandpa,
that's like a granddad.
Daddy.
Ooh, sugar daddy.
You can never use the word daddy in any other context, can you? My birth dad, John, was married to my mum for a few years, and then she left my dad. They ended up divorcing, and now she's somewhere in California. I don't know where or what she's doing. I haven't talked to her in ages. So Dad and Pops, I'm super close with. They're the best parents anyone could ever ask for. I love both of them, and they've always been with me. My dad introduced me to Pops when I was a little boy, and they told me that they were in a relationship, and I was all for it because I saw how happy my dad had become after lonely and long years he was single. After the lonely and long years he was single. Single. So seeing the fact that my dad loves someone and has a life together made me super happy. Pops and Dad got married and we've been living an amazing life. I'm probably more close to Pops than my own dad.
There's competition.
Oh, yes, yeah, how the cookie crumbles. Due to the fact that Pops is really cool and he's really laid back. I love both of them equally and they love me as well, and I'm blessed to have them as parents. For a few months, I've been dating this girl, let's call her Bella, who's my own age. Oh, very Twilight. No, I thought she's pretty cute and I liked her. So we kicked it. What does that mean? So we kicked it. Is that like we kicked the baby?
When kicking it means like, I think it means they're getting on the hanging on.
They're getting
like,
together.
Like hitting it off. It's kind of like, we're kicking it, girls.
We're kicking it, girls.
Yeah, let's just go and kick babies in the
very
maternity
well.
ward.
Well, I would get along with that. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Shall we do it later?
Yeah,
I was still early. Yeah, you get the bus. Arrested. She told me, my parents want to meet your parents and want to come over for dinner. I said, sure, I'll tell the family.
And you'll come with Confederate flags and Trump signs.
Very bad, aren't they? Yes. So yesterday, Friday night, Bella comes in, Pop greets her and says, come on in, sweetheart, dinner is ready, girls. And she says, you must be blah-de-blah's dad. So good to meet you. And she shakes his hand and she sees my actual dad come out of the kitchen. He's holding the mac and cheese tray with the mittens on and is putting it on the table. And Bella says, who's he? And I say, oh, that's my dad. And she said, I thought he was your dad, referring to Pops. I say, yes, that's my Pops and that's my dad. She pulls me to the side and says, I didn't know your parents were gay. Oh my God, why didn't you tell me? I genuinely don't know why that would be an issue or so, because you're dating me and not my parents, so it shouldn't matter. But I guess it's a concern for her. Her parents come to the door, and after they park the car, Bella tells her parents we should leave, and they left. I told my parents I'm sorry, and they said, don't worry, this is nothing new. And then they all sat down, enjoyed the dinner, and went to sleep. Am I the asshole for not telling my girlfriend? No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's one of those things, though. Again, perhaps a little bit of forewarning might have been useful.
Oh, see, I didn't even think about that. I'm like, if I need to tell you that my parents are gay because I'm worried something might happen, then you're not the right person for me.
No. So for me, it would be a case of like, not because something might happen, just because like, I would want to know if I met my boyfriend and he had gay parents, I'd want to know. Not in a case of being like, oh my God, I've got to change the way I think. Just because it would actually put me a little bit at ease, I guess. I'd be like, oh, part of the culture. Like, I'll have a lot more to talk about than just like...
Yeah, but I think we're...
petty things I've never liked.
But I think...
But I think it's different.
It's different because we're part of the queer community.
You'd think it would have come up in conversation though, wouldn't you? You can't not have ever spoken about your parents and then be like, suddenly come to dinner.
Yeah, I suppose
because you'd be like,
so.
oh, my dad does this and my pops does that.
I'm not sure. Like, I personally don't think you should have to disclose like who you are just to appease people like that. Like, I think it's very different when you're dating them yourselves. I think like maybe say, I don't know, I'm
a woman.
Blah, blah, a woman. I don't know. But like, if, as he said, you're not dating my parents, you're dating me.
I think the idea that at the end of the story, they were like, well, we have to leave.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, okay, no, there is like a problem actually here. That's quite a shame. I don't know if declaration is the right word that I would look for it. I just, not warning isn't right either. I don't want to be warned about something that's like, tsunami warning. Like, that's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like, you'd think it would just casually come up in conversation or something because it's an interesting fact.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it didn't. Maybe it's just a bit like, this is normal for me, so I've just never thought about it. I think that's also a thing, isn't it? Normal for us is not necessarily normal for everyone else.
Yeah. But I
get out that bus and kick those babies.
Yeah, I still stand what I say that you should never have to tell people that your parents are gay because you're like if you're worried about what they're gonna think, I'm like, well, it is like,
yeah, I don't think there should ever be a moment where you're like, I need you to sit down for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Just so
they know.
They raw dog on the sofa.
Oh.
Like, that's not, I don't think that's fine.
I mean, if I ever start chatting to someone, I always ask about their family relatively soon anyway, just because I'm curious.
A lot of it also is like, oh, let me know what your family's like, just in case you're also insane.
Yeah.
Like, you know? Like, because
tell me your trauma.
That other woman needed forewarning. That mother-in-law that was like, I hate you.
Yeah,
she should be like, just so you know, my mum's a bit loopy.
Yeah, like I'm gonna get loopy on my.
Exactly that. Oh,
I'm dead now.
Yeah. Assholery.
No, I don't think he's an asshole for not disclosing that the dad was gay.
No,
because
I don't.
Again, it's a little bit like that trans 181. I'm like, in an idealistic world, you shouldn't have to tell people this.
Yeah, it should be not a shock revelation. It should just be part of the conversation, I guess.
Yeah, like I want people to look at a gay person and go, okay. Not be like, oh, that's different. No, why? That shouldn't be different. Am I the a-hole for calling my brother's mother-in-law a bitch?
Yes.
Because she fined her hotel guests for writing a bad review.
Oh, wow. Okay, all right. This is very us on Airbnb recently.
My brother's wife's parents own a nice hotel in a rural area, and recently some guests have a bad experience and gave them a 2-star review on TripAdvisor.
Interesting.
Mother-in-law showed up late, causing the guests to wait 2 hours in the cold. That Jesus.
Oh, I would be like, right, charge back on the credit card.
2 hours in the cold to get in, and the heating also stopped working several times. So I think the 2-star review was generous. While there were some other relatively negative reviews, my mother-in-law fined them $450 and changed their card since they left a negative charged their card since they left a negative review on Yelp. I'm not sure about the exact wording or the law on this, but the couple is now suing mother-in-law, and she's bitching about it on Facebook at a family gathering on Facebook, bitching about Facebook.
Of course.
She was at dinner with like 60 of us. 60?
God. She's
She's at the dinner with like 60 of us. 60? And said it's unfair about the bad review damaging her business, and now she's getting sued. I told her she wouldn't have this problem if she wasn't such a bitch to her customers and petty as like that. And I pointed out the irony of her calling Trump and what's Trump got to do with it? I pointed out the irony of her calling Trump and Republicans fascists and Nazis on Facebook when she's trying to censor other people. What? She got up and left. A lot of people said I was rude to her. Essentially, I said respect elders. What did the Trump thing come into it?
I don't know. Maybe she's got. Well, she obviously was just like saying like she doesn't agree with right-wing politics, which agree personally. But then also behaving like a right-wing capitalist, like leave them outside. Charge
I
them if they
don't know.
do
Like
wrong.
what?
Unfortunately, the reality of running a business is that you can't make every single person happy forever. But
Yeah.
what you can do, and what you should try to do as a business owner, within reason, is to try and mend the situation.
Yes.
To try and, I was going to say replicate. What's it called? Rectify. Try and rectify
Rectum.
the situation. Try and put the whole bee up your hole. So if you are a hotel owner and you leave your guests out in the cold for 2 hours, you're going to be feeling a negative review coming. If I'd have done that, I would have immediately been like, oh my God, this situation is so terrible. I can immediately feel like they're just going to leave a terrible. As soon as you arrive, you just said, oh my God, complimentary breakfast. I'm so sorry. Complimentary this, complimentary that. If they're heating any issue, here's my private number, we will fix this situation for you. Instead of being like, you left a star review, did you? I'll fine your card. Like, you can't just fine people for leaving bad reviews.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the whole point of a
that
review
is illegal,
system.
surely.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Well, even if it's not, in America, I know you can sue people for just looking at you funny. So, like, I'm not surprised
You've
that
been
you might
served,
be
girl.
sued. Exactly. I don't think the person that wrote this is the asshole for calling her a bitch, because that is bitch behavior.
That is bitch behavior. That
not boss
absolutely.
bitch either. Just bad bitch.
But also, dinner was 60 of us.
Awful.
60.
Imagine going to dinner with 60 people.
60.
Terrible.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I've got like one family member. 60.
Yeah, unrelatable
Obscene.
context. Yeah,
but yeah,
unrelatable.
it's obscene to me that you would. The thing is, clearly, this woman has never had anything negative. Like, she's also never been told no before, and people in her review before like have never said anything really that bad or something, and it's always been like sort of at least neutral to positive. Because it said there was a few other negative reviews, but like this is the time that she's decided to fine someone. Yeah. So clearly that one must be sort of like fine,
like,
I guess.
A bit like, there's maybe some dust in the sink.
If you own your own business and you cannot get so invested to that stage where you take it so unbelievably personally when like something that you have provided isn't up to every single person's taste.
Yeah.
Not everyone is gonna like everything that you do, especially because like you know that you left them waiting outside in the cold for 2 hours, and like you said, isn't it like a rural area as well? I think it'd be slightly different. Like, say, I don't know, we were in
a city.
Yeah, if we were like in the middle of London and the Airbnb host was like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I'm running late." Like, we could entertain ourselves quite easy in London and not be like, "Oh my God, this bitch." It might be annoying you had to wait, but like if you're in a rural area where there's not really anything there to do, or maybe like you've got a taxi there and the taxi's left, and you're kind of like, "Oh, I was here for like a fun little like bijou cutesy getaway, and all of a sudden now I'm outside in the freezing woods. I don't know where the I am." What are you expecting? Them to be like, "Oh, it's fine.
Do you know what? Yeah, charge me more. Love it."
So, and then the heating wasn't working as well. So I'm assuming it was winter time then.
This seems a bit like just bad business management, and then they're surprised that this bad business is getting bad reviews. Like, it actually takes a lot of like purposeful effort to make a business work, whatever that business looks like, and you have to really be quite skilled at your own work. The idea that she's gone to dinner and complaining that people are finding her business terrible says more about her than it does about her customers.
Yeah.
Like, it's so cringe.
I think as well, I know this isn't necessarily a good thing what I'm about to say, but I think sometimes when you are a business and you're a small business and you're starting up, when like a customer might be a bit arsey to you or something, sometimes you have to evaluate the situation and go, is this going to benefit me more for me to make a huge scene at this random person when I could just quickly go, do you know what? Here's a refund on this one thing, because now you're getting sued.
Yeah,
because
you've made it worse.
Because you let your own emotions take over. And I get that it can feel personal, but like that's not how businesses survive.
No, it's not.
People like Amazon can, and it's not good, but Amazon have the power to be like, oh, you to someone, because they're so massive that they can do it. If you're a tiny company, you can't suddenly start your business by going, you, and because they've done something wrong, because you're just going to harm yourself in the long run. If you want to be successful, sometimes you need to bite your tongue. The same as sometimes when I do things on the internet, I know half the time not everyone's going to agree with my opinion or not going to agree with everything, but sometimes you're just like, is it worth the hassle to be like...
Yeah, it is, because you never know what extra hot water you can find yourself in. Ooh,
so I keep
going up and going down.
You just, like, sometimes I get emails from companies and they're shitty to me, and half the time I want to reply to them and be like, you are a fucking arsehole. Offer people what they deserve. But I would never do that, because it's like, that's not going to help me in the long run. You just have to kind of just suspend your own...
Yeah, you have to suspend your own feelings for your business in a way, which is why also sometimes when we see those videos about like, but this is a family business, how dare you do this to us? I'm a little bit like, remove yourself from the situation,
Remove
sis.
it,
Remove yourself. You're gonna do yourself an aneurysm.
Yeah.
Early grave if you take everything so personally.
Absolutely.
But then again, I do also feel like she is in the wrong here for making people wait 2 hours.
Yeah, you should make some...
She should have been immediately in contact with them, should have been like keeping them up to date, refunds, extra night for free, I don't know, something, instead of being like, oh, well, you know, they're just outside and the heating doesn't work and now I'm being sued because I'm the victim. I've let these wonderful people stay in my house. Like, you haven't done them a favor.
No.
You're operating a business.
Yeah. If you offer a service, at least provide the service, and then don't get angry when they get angry because you haven't provided the service. Like when we went to Airbnb and they tried to pretend that we f***ed up the house, and like we went to, if you don't know the story, we basically went to this Airbnb, and it was absolutely repulsive. It was so dirty. It was so filthy. Clearly hadn't had anyone come in and change it and clean the place. Blah, blah, blah. We stayed there for about half an hour and then left. We took photos, we sent to Airbnb, and then we were told that we were lying and that we had messed it up. And it's like, but we were in there for half an hour. There is no way in hell that we would have been able to enter it.
Do all that.
And
then leave, But
then also, what would we be gaining from doing that? Because we still didn't stay there.
Yeah, exactly,
So
it's not like we stayed there and then we're claiming for a refund.
Yeah, exactly. No. We didn't stay there. So like, you can't blame other people because you did something wrong. I don't know. Am I the a-hole for slut shaming? A slut shamer.
Okay, right. Let me get the tea. The hot monster.
I, a 19 female, am not sexually active by choice. Not for any moral reason. I just want to focus on uni without extra complications, and I'd rather be my first be with someone I care about and feel completely comfortable with. Guys get weird about it when sex comes up. Either they fetishize it, turn it into a challenge, or lose interest. The guys that get all excited about a 0 body count are the worst in my that's my number one dating pet peeve. A lot of guys, I think the whole like, I want the virgins, like, just so a woman can't tell you that you're shit in bed.
Well, that's the tea, isn't it?
There is a guy we'll call Bub that hangs around my friends group, my friendship group, because he's one of the other guy's roommates.
Okay.
Bob has good moments, but he acts like a major douche cannon.
Ugh. What a horrible
I've heard douche canoe, but not douche cannon. A douche cannon.
God, Fleet have a new product there.
Very dirty hole to be cleaning up with a cannon. When dating or sex comes up, he's a douche cannon. Brags about sleeping with lots of girls, but also looks down at them for being loose. I try to avoid Bob. Anyway, Bob asked me out because before Thanksgiving break, like 2 days before that, I heard him talking to one of the guys about a girl he went on a date with, and he said that he hit it and quit it because he didn't date sluts. Sounds like a wonderful person.
doesn't he just, yeah.
So when Bob asked me out, I said no thanks. He pressed for a reason. I told him that I heard him talk about all of his hookups and I don't date sluts. You should have seen the look on his face. He said it wasn't really that many and that he was exaggerating a little. I'm wife material, so he's not looking to hook up. What? I said if his body count was over 0, he was too easy to be husband material. Bob lost his shit about it, and
the shoe's on the other isn't it now?
Friend group is split. Some of them think it's hilarious and Bob got a taste of his own medicine. Others think I was wrong to slut shame him, even if he was being a bellend.
Do you know, this is such a huge difference between like LGBT culture.
Yeah.
Because we would not care.
I wouldn't care.
It's not
no.
even a thing. It's not like the body count is such a straight phenomenon.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
just don't care.
I just think of it as it's like, well, first of all, I think it's hilarious.
Taste of his own medicine.
Taste of his own medicine.
Like Mary Poppins said it best.
Because so many men like this have the same idea of like, I'm a stud, you're a slut.
Yeah.
This is 5 days ago, so it's brand new. Yeah.
This will be like a like Andrew Tate phenomenon.
Exactly,
or
yeah. So the fact that this is still like a thing, like an idea that still gets like put out into society, that like any woman who like owns her sexuality is like a whore, slut or something. I'm like, you're right.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, actually, you know? Yes, I'm completely up, like, yeah, call him a slut. Be like, no, I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like sluts.
Yeah, you can actually, like, okay, you can have a body count preference, sure, but as long as it's not a boundary you're like applying to someone else, I think is the big thing, isn't it?
Do you know what seems funny though is the fact that they said the friend group is split about it, right? But like, was the friend group split when he was like, "Oh, she's a slut"?
Apparently not. Yeah,
There didn't seem to be discourse around that.
I wonder if this is just, as she says, the friend group. I wonder if it's just the boys are all don't like me because I've said this.
Yeah.
I wonder if that might be more of the case. I don't think this situation is nuanced at all, like some of the others we've talked about today. I think this is a case of like, taste of your own medicine. He hasn't liked it. And it might have actually, in a weird way, okay, yes, it's like slut shaming on the outside. You could say, oh, slut shaming's bad. Blah, blah. To talk to someone in a language that they understand is actually also an incredible point of learning.
Yes, absolutely.
Like if you were to tell someone a piece of information in like terms that they don't understand, they're never going to get it. If you use the same words against them or to them to explain a situation, they're going to get it. So maybe he immediately sort of understood the situation, and then that's when he was like, well, it's not that high. No, I'm exaggerating. I made it up.
Well, and also,
Panic.
it's like you would only really be an arsehole like if you kind of went out of your way to go up to this person for no reason, being like, you're actually a whore or whatever. Like the fact that like she heard him talking about girls like this, and then he tried to ask her out. So she was like, no, because I
know what you're like.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like she went out of her way to walk up to this random stranger. You're a whore! No, there was actually a reason why she said it. It wasn't just, I'm fully on her side.
And even if it was a case of the guy then is like, maybe he was exaggerating and trying to sound like, oh, fun and like, a stud in between the men or whatever.
Well, don't be misogynistic.
Exactly. Don't be misogynistic. But also it's a huge thing of like, well, that's a massive red flag anyway, because you're just a liar.
Yeah.
You're just a liar and you want to do things for clout.
Absolutely.
And why would you want to date someone like that anyway? Because then you'll never know what is really true and what's not. I do not think she is an asshole.
No, neither do I.
He sounds like an asshole in this situation. Grow up.
Are you ready? Let's get soaking wet.
Not on the asshole, though.
No,
not today.
no, not soaking wet ass pussy.
No. Am I the asshole?
Yes.
Because I tell people I'm gay when I'm not.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, you're excited for this?
Okay, sure.
So I'm bisexual. The bits don't really matter to me. Innies or outies, I like them all. I also purposefully avoid using a lot of gendered language because I work in an environment where gender isn't always obvious. So I've taught myself to use quite neutral wording often. And I adopted it myself because I felt it was supportive of my gender diverse compatriots. That's quite nice, isn't it? When describing my past relationships, for example, I generally say things like they were hot rather than she or he was really hot. As a result, my co-workers think I'm gay. For example, women will ask me if their Tinder dates are hot, and men will show me photos of theirs and say, probably not your thing, but what do you think? For some reason, I've noticed people, men and women alike, treat me better if they think that I'm straight. Men are less dickish to me, women are more welcoming, and in general, I have better experiences with the people around me, and I felt more welcome than I ever did when I was more open around my sexuality, or when people thought I was straight.
Okay.
When people make the assumptions about my sexuality, I don't correct them. I let them think I'm gay. I think he's written it wrong here. I think he says, treat me better if they think I'm gay.
Yeah, I got confusing, but yeah.
I think that's what it is. So he's accidentally wrote straight where he meant gay. Am I the arsehole? Should I be correcting people and telling me that I'm not as gay as I seem?
I mean...
This is actually quite a harmless one in comparison.
Yeah, I think if you were like just fully straight, I think it'd be a bit weird. But the fact that like you do suck a dick, like I think it's fine.
Like you've paid your toll.
Yeah. At the first when you said the headline, I was like,
it does. It's very like, oh, I slept over my best friend's house just because I was gay, and then we ended up in a relationship. Blah, blah. Like very that sort of thing.
I hit my head and became a hairdresser.
Oh yeah, that rugby guy.
Rugby.
He was like a straight rugby lad. Hit his head, and then he was like,
Oh,
"I'm actually a
suck a dick."
hairdresser now, and I'm gay." I don't think they're the asshole, but it kind of does go to show you a lot of things that you give up or become privileged to when you are perceived in a different way than you are.
Yes.
For me, when I pre-transition, I was in a relationship, but we went to try and get an apartment in a place in South London. It was a beautiful, large apartment. The estate agent was all up for it. Everyone was up for it until it came to the landlord, and they said, "Oh, it's like a gay relationship. They want this apartment." And the landlord turned around and said, "Oh no, we're only looking for a single person." But the rent was like for 2 people, and the space was for 2 people.
Yeah.
There was like 2 bathrooms. Like it was a 2-bedroom. It was a 2-person house.
Yeah.
And it's literally just like, oh, I've experienced that. And since transition, I've never experienced anything like that because I date men. So
yeah. But we had, as you know already, but we had the similar experience when we were trying to move the place before here.
Yeah.
And we were looking for one that was like down the street from here. And the woman was like making some weird comments about like her like son like going to Pride and stuff, and it was she's not one of you, but he loves Pride, but he's not one of you. But then like
sis, wake up.
And then when it came to us actually trying to get the place, we could afford it fine. It wasn't even so much money, but all of a sudden it's like, oh no, we're actually looking for people who are like in a relationship and not just like friends, because friends sometimes fall out. It's like relationships also break up, and it was clearly because they didn't want gays in the house. They clearly didn't want gays renting this.
So this very much goes back to that point I was saying earlier. There's always a vibe you can pick up when someone's
absolutely
being difficult and in a certain thing. You're just like, oh, this is not good. Like,
well, it's very
feeling.
My trans suburb, the woman who was that. Might get bricks in the window.
Has anyone ever gotten bricks through the window where you've lived? Yeah. What about our safety?
Yeah, stupid.
You dirty cross. Like that's what she wanted to say.
Yeah. Customers might be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's not because of us we don't want the trans person work here, but the customers might be uncomfortable.
Yeah, shut up. Get a job.
Anyway,
yes.
Today has been a lot.
It has, hasn't
I do love it. Am I the A-hole?
Me too. It's one of my favourite ones we do. Because you go all riled up, girls.
Today you've been very
on the game.
venomous and pointed.
I have, yeah. I can't wait to read the comments and be like, Luxeria is a horrible woman. She needs to be in
really
prison.
Mean. Yeah.
She actually beat me in the street.
She did, yeah. She was just doing underneath the desk. She's kicking me as we speak.
Yes. Well.
Kick,
bitch,
the puff.
Kick drum.
Kick, oh. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today's video podcast.
Share us some assholery in the comments. What do you think about the storage?
Yeah, tell us any of the opinions that you have.
Yes.
Please hit the like button, subscribe, and
Yes.
hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos that are coming up. Also, make sure to give us a nice review on Spotify or iTunes, wherever it is you do listen. Give us some nice little reviews. It really helps us out. And we will see you soon for another episode of Gag of the Poosh.
Yes.
And
we'll see you soon.
So,